Are we live? Okay, it's me, Drowned Rat Polly Tommy, hijacked Del Bigtree's phone. Del's chatting away here, and I thought you should hear this conversation.
Oh yeah, really.
Here we go.
So I shot an interview with you yesterday. I'm really change. This is a group that interviewed me. Really cool guy in Denver.
That's right, Bruce.
Bruce, and now you've interviewed me. And I'm curious, what is We Are Change?
We Are Change is basically a decentralized group of people. It's activists, journalists, pretty much anyone who is is ready to make a change in their local community or in the world. We seek to basically expose corruption on a whole host of topics and try to cover the things that mainstream media won't touch or is not allowed to touch. So not only do we interview whistleblowers, we organize protests, anything to get the truth out there that we're not being told. We think we've been lied to on, a host of topics, whether it's our food, our water, the vaccine issue, the foreign wars, anything that's involved with corruption and in freedom. And it's also not so much an organization. There's no leaders. We've got chapters around the globe, but we don't, take orders or anything. We don't have any corporate sponsorship. We're all on our own. We all have the same mission here to be the change that we wish to see in the world, and that's really what we hope to get that message across to people, to show that we can make the change ourselves. We can be the media. Everybody has a cell phone now. We have the power to film things and be our own media and interview people, and you can do it yourself, and now you can post it and millions of people can see it. Something can go viral. One video you do can go viral and it can change hundreds and thousands, even millions of lives. You never know what type of ripple effect that you're going to have by being the change and being the media. So that's really what we're about, and that's really our goals.
How did you get involved? So what are you are you in college? What are you doing?
No, I graduated.
I
graduated. I had a pretty standard life. Went to school. Everything seems fine and dandy in the world until you sort of fall into the rabbit hole, however that is. I know a lot of people get sick with cancer and sort of wake up to the medical industry, and they learn about holistic cures and natural treatments, and that we're lied to about the food we're eating, the pharmaceuticals we're taking, and things like that. And I don't know, once I discovered those things that we've been lied to and what's been done to us, whether purposely or inadvertently, I can't just sleep at night not telling people, not trying to do a little something about it. So I went to school, I have a regular day job, but in my free time I try to get the message out there to people and show people that we've been lied to and that we can do something about it. It's
Say that again, because we lost contact.
Okay, the question was, he quoted Gandhi, be the change you want to see in the world, and then I just wondered if Gandhi would have approved of becoming the media, the social media.
I think he would be happy with what certain people are using it for. Most people are obviously using it just to post themselves or get in other people's business and cause drama. But if you use that tool, this spying tool that our government uses to intrude on our lives, if you use it to your advantage and use it as your platform to get out to people, then you can make some good of it. And that's what I try to use it for. I'm not talking about who said this or what celebrity had this dress on. If you are out there talking about real things, what's going on with your food, do you know what a GMO is? If you post these things and start these real conversations, then we're just talking about more meaningful things. So yeah, I think if it's used correctly, it can be very powerful. But if you're just using it for nonsense and letting it intrude on your life, then you're just basically creating a database for the government to monitor your life willingly.
So a couple of questions here.
Yeah.
First of all, what's your name?
My name is Justin Harvey.
And how can people get hold of you, or watch you, or listen to you?
You can find us on Facebook at We Are Change Orlando. We also have a YouTube channel, We Are Change Orlando, and you can visit wearechange.org to see our main website, which covers international politics, everything. Right now, the founder of We Are Change, Luke Rudowski, is in overseas and covering the Bilderberg Conference, the annual meeting with the politicians and media heads and elites that is also a total media blackout, and most people don't know about. It's been going on for over 50 years now.
And what's your Facebook name? I just want to
Oh, my Facebook name is Justin Harvey. So you could find me on there.
You may not want to answer this, but how old are you?
I'm 29. I don't mind
29.
answering.
No, it's great.
Can I just ask, who did you say is covering Bilderberg?
Luke Rudowski, the founder of We Are Change.
He interviewed me.
Oh, really?
He interviewed me. He did some work for Russia TV, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, he interviewed me, and he'd just come back from the Bilderberg conference. He had chased Henry Kissinger to his hotel. Seriously, into the car, into his hotel.
Outside of Angelica?
Yes.
Oh, wow. So that's We Are Change. So I've done 3 of these now.
Yes, correct.
I love you guys. So here's my question, because there's a lot of people that talk about your generation, you know, that there's this idea that some people think you're just a Kim Kardashian, you know, reality TV generation, yet I'm meeting more and more of you in restaurants and people like this. There's a real concern that the politics isn't working anymore, that this is, you know, do you think that, what do you think about your generation? Do you think they're stepping up? Do you think you're capable of the change necessary? Or do you think your generation's less involved than the ones before you? You know, does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. It's really tough to say, you know. It depends on how you look at it and what circles you're in, because, you know, a year or two ago I probably would have said, you know, everybody's just disillusioned with crap on TV and nothing important. And now I am, like you say, that I'm starting to see more people that are just not satisfied and don't trust the system. Like, these kids growing up now on the internet have information at their fingertips. They can, I don't know if I buy into that, and they can check it, you know, and they're growing up with perpetual war and perpetual debt. That I think they have just a genuine mistrust and distrust for the system starting out. So I do think there is awakening happening. I truly do see it, with friends, with family, with other people. It's still not reached that critical mass yet, I don't think, but it's really both sides. You've got a large group of people that really don't care, and they are locked into just, you know, meaninglessness in society. But there are more and more people waking up. You know, the more people that their families are affected by these illnesses, or their families go over and die in these wars that are based on lies, and more and more people are realizing what's happening. And the internet is our greatest blessing. You know, you can reach so many people. You know, you guys probably wouldn't be able to get so many people to these showings if it wasn't for the internet. You don't have, you know, television, radio on your side, not mainstream at least.
No.
There's so many people on here saying, can I give you hugs, 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 love, love, love. Everyone's loving you.
So I just want to make it clear, because I've said Kim Kardashian twice. Kim, if you're watching this,
saying that?
I just, honestly, I have nothing against Kim Kardashian. I'm sure I would love to hang out with Kim and her family. It's sort of what it represents. I'm just saying the representation of, you know, following a life that's not your own, this vicarious living through other people, which I think is really scary and dangerous. So I only use sort of the Kardashian experience. Nothing against any of them. I think they are probably perfectly wonderful people, and probably are very smart and have lives. It's just what they represent to me is just sort of, I'm used that as a generic term of not focusing on our own lives while we focus on someone else's. But I'd be really curious, where are you at politically in this presidential, you know, election?
Question.
I mean, Bernie Sanders,
It's really
Trump,
not that tough.
Hillary.
We get this all the time.
Yeah.
We get this
Okay,
all the
I
time.
can't talk about it really, but I'm curious.
Okay, but before you answer that
yeah.
question, what time is it? Have we got time for the Q&A? Are we good? We're going to miss
Yeah, we got 8 more minutes.
Okay, ready to go on this terrific question.
I was, before I became, you know, involved in activism and things like that, I was didn't care about politics, didn't think it affected my life, had no interest in it, you know, my day is going. And once I became more informed about what's going on, I was more interested in it, but I lost all faith in it. So I think that our presidents are puppets. I think they have been for a long time. I don't think they have any true power at this point, unfortunately. Corporations, banks seem to run this country. And I would say I was a libertarian for, you know, 6 to 8 months. I really agree with a lot of their principles, but I don't know if I can vote for president anymore. I believe in voting locally, but I don't think change comes from voting for a president anymore, and I don't think they have any power to really do anything. If they really wanted to shake things up, I really think that we would have another JFK on our hands. So I think that, you know, I see change happen every day with activism, with reaching out on social media, talking to real people, that's where I see change happen. When people change their diets and totally eradicate some type of illness or ailment they've had their whole life, that is some real change. When people find out, what's going on with the news media, and they shut off the TV and they free their mind from this fear-mongering, this mental slavery, that is change. I've never seen change from filling out a ballot box and voting for some guy in a suit that cares nothing about this country, nothing about the people, totally bought out by corporate interests. So I really can't condone voting for president. And just to add to it, people would say, well, you've got to participate because, you've got to have a say in it. But I can't compromise my principles of no killing. No matter who I vote for, we will be in war, endless war. We will continue to print money from nothing with the private illegal Federal Reserve. If you haven't looked into the history of the Federal Reserve, please do, because that is the root of most of our problems here. And I really just
What about,
I've lost faith
honestly,
in it.
but everything you're saying, and I'm just sort of, I think I'm just a little bit older version of you. I mean, Bernie Sanders is saying a lot of this. I mean, Bernie Sanders is talking about, he's obviously a socialist, so that's a massive government thing. So that goes against the libertarian side.
Right.
But he apparently is anti-war. He's anti-corporate control of government. I mean, what is your opinion of Bernie Sanders?
Bernie Sanders, I will say, kudos to him for speaking out on things like the Trans-Pacific Partnership, the GMO issue, calling out Wall Street. He says a lot of great things, don't get me wrong. And if I were to vote, maybe who I would lean towards. But at the end of the day, I still think he believes in the war on terror. And the war on terror is a very complicated issue, but I think a lot of it is engineered through intelligence agencies. And if we're going to continue to give Israel $7-8 million a day to do what they're doing to Palestinians, continue to operate the drone program, and I'm saying these because Bernie has said that he will continue the drone program, he will, fight the battle against ISIS, which, I think we've got the history of the origins of ISIS to study before we start killing more. And I think he would allow the wars to continue because they still look at it as defense, and I think it's more of offense. And not so much on the socialist thing, but other than that, you're right. He does say a lot of good things. He calls out, what's wrong with this country. But
He put his vaccine.
oh, does he?
Yeah.
That's our problem with him.
The big thing with me,
we
usually
can't go there.
the deal
he's
breaker.
anti-pharmaceutical lobby. I mean, he's anti-pharmaceutical lobby. Bernie's only. He's
Andy,
only.
why
a
don't you
step
talk
away.
about? I'm sorry. Can we just go for a second to Andy?
Have we
and
got any
your,
time left?
What?
Have we got any time left?
Yeah, we got 2
Yeah.
minutes.
Can we talk
2
about who you think we should vote? I was like, no,
I'm
don't
trying
do
to
this.
leave it on this kid.
Okay,
here.
No,
but
that's
just
it,
one
that's
second.
it.
People are not liking the Bernie Sanders thing right now because of the
Well, no.
vaccine issue. At the end of the day, with the vaccine injured parents only want one thing.
Well, all I would say is if it's going to come down to one of two people, and there's one of them has taken at the beginning of this whole campaign $333,000 from the pharmaceutical industry has been bought and sold, bought and paid for right from the outset. And if the prospects of Hillary Clinton in government mean that we will have mandatory childhood and adult vaccination from cradle to grave in this country, and I don't want that. So for me, that's the biggest issue right now in this country.
I'll weigh in on my dilemma. My dilemma is, I grew up a progressive liberal. That has definitely shifted more towards the libertarian. I want government out.
Right.
So you look at Trump. You look at someone that has definitely stated that. There's a few things that I think are very interesting about what Trump's saying. I do not like any of the racial conversation,
Right.
which is making it very difficult for me, and it's going to make this one of the most difficult, I think, presidential elections. I'm right with you. I might be at the place now where I was raised to vote. I was raised by parents that always said, "You have to vote. That's what makes America great." But at a certain point, if your choices are so terrible and things become such a puppet show, your vote simply is almost a vote that.
Someone just said we're waiting for the next Q&A. What does that mean? Are we okay on time?
We're going to be right there. We're going to be there in 2 minutes. But I'm caught between two things. Bernie, I believe, if he's anti-corporate, pharmaceutical industry,
Right.
I think we could get Vaxxed to him and change his mind about vaccines. On the other hand, this idea of giant government controlling everything is why I find ourselves in the problem we're in. I like Donald Trump. I'm sort of liking more of an isolationist perspective, which is, you know, build it here, jobs here, create it here, sell it here. Why do we need the rest of the world at this point? He's come out and said that he believes vaccines are causing autism, which is a positive thing. But then he apparently wants to be in wars all over the place.
Right.
Like, so if we, how many of our values do we have to compromise to make a vote? Is really what it comes down to now, right? I mean, isn't that really what it comes down to?
Yeah, and that's kind of the way I see it. Is it's
Counting down there, guys.
it's where we're compromising so much to just pick one of these choices that have been somewhat pre-selected, and I don't necessarily think we should be doing that. And I think that we're going to find out that, you know, there's not a lot of change coming from each president. Each year we get more war, more debt, more corruption. You know, from Clinton, Bush to Obama. You know, most of those things have increased. Now, little things maybe change here and there. They shift things around, but overall,
10 seconds.
you
All
know,
right, 10 seconds. There's hope.
Yeah, the youth.
The youth
be the
are
media,
coming,
be the
man.
change.
That's
that you
it,
wish to
amen.